Hello, everybody. My name is Kashawn Hopkins. I'm an instructional technology specialist from Oklahoma Public School Resource Center. And today in this Tech Talk, I'm going to talk about Google Slides. Again, because this is going to be a bit of a sequel, remix, reloaded version of the usual Tech Talks that I usually give. These are ones that I've done before. And I wanted to try to either expand on whatever I talked about last time, or try to remix whatever was going on. Maybe there's some big updates that I wanted to talk about, so I've selected a couple of ones to do in this kind of section here. I'm also joined here with my colleague. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hello, I'm Kurt Bernhardt, Director of Technology for OPSRC, and Kashawn and I make up the tech team here.
Absolutely. If you want to ever reach out to us, we have a wonderfully easy email to learn here. It's techteam@opsrc.net. You can reach out to us. It doesn't have to be just about tech talks. We could talk about Geogebra websites or integrated technology in there. Yeah, we're the people to talk to if you're ever interested, and you can do it through there. Additionally, I have a link to these slides on here. I highly recommend that you take advantage of these. I'm going to read this out real quick because it is case sensitive. So lowercase t period ly / lowercase a c uppercase s f. If you get that, there's lots of lovely little resources attached to these slides, just in case you want to do an extension activity or you want to revisit anything that I'm talked about over here. Additionally, and I usually do this for at the end of the Tech Talks, when we do it at the beginning of this one, is if you've missed out on the first Tech Talk, not a big deal. The one that has to do with Google Slides, it would definitely help out if you have it, or if you already have kind of like the basics down for Google Slides, this is kind of for you. If not, and this is like you haven't had a whole lot of exposure to it, I highly recommend that you go here, opsrc.net/Tech Talks. And over here, you can see the other upcoming Tech Talks. We got Seesaw, Flipgrid, and Nearpod coming up there. And you can also suggest a technology tool on there. But down over here, you can see archived Tech Talks. And so you can see part 1 up there. I highly recommend that you check that out if you are unfamiliar with Google Slides, and then come back onto this one. We'd be happy to have you, because this particular one, I'm going to focus on installing add-ons to increase the functionality of Google Slides. There's all sorts of wonderful things that you can do it on the get-go, but there are some lovely third-party programs and services out there that are readily available. Good chunk of them are free as well. Sometimes they might require you to log in, but they would require you to log in with a Gmail account, which I imagine you probably have if you're already using Google Slides. So very useful stuff there. And the very first thing I just want to show you is how to install an add-on. For the most part, you can do it yourself unless your IT specialist has some kind of restrictions on there, which is very common. So if you have some add-ons, if I show you some stuff and you're interested in, give them a shout out, and they should be able to help you out if everything is on the level as far as their security is concerned. I definitely don't want you to invest in some of these add-ons if none of them are secure for the network that you're trying to build there. So definitely talk with your IT specialist to get some of these add-ons if you're not able to do it yourself. But if you can, you just have to go up here. There's a little at the top left-hand corner where it says add-ons. You click on that, and then you click get add-ons. You can peruse. It's sort of an add-on store where you can just kind of look through and see what other companies are offering. You got some really great stuff in here, and if you ever wanted to find an add-on that is right for you, you just kind of like peruse through here. I think this one would probably work out. So word cloud generator sounds pretty nice. You can click on that. It gives you a little bit of description. You can get an overview. You can see what type of permissions it will need. You can see what reviews. You can check that out. And you can also see whether or not these add-ons work with other tools in the Google Suite here. Well, Google Workspace, that's what they call it now. But yeah, if I find out this is good, I can click the install in here. It'll ask for permissions. You will probably have to log in just to confirm what account this is going to be associated with. Allow those permissions. So you do have a few clicks for the installation, but they usually don't take long. And as soon as they're done, it will show you immediately where you can find them, which chances are under the add-ons. So very easy process if you're allowed to get in there. If you can't go through any one of those processes, definitely talk to your IT specialist, and it'll get you situated here. But I have a couple of add-ons that I would love to show you. in a bit. But first, a schedule of what's going on here, because I want to make sure that I'm respecting everybody's time here. Even if you're just watching the recording a little bit later, I try to keep these 30 minutes. So schedule here, I'm going to go a little bit over my objective, talk a bit about technology integration. I usually do this part at the beginning of every one of my tech talks, just so I kind of like lay the foundation. I want to make sure that we're focused on what we're trying to do here, because I never want technology to just be kind of like thrown in a classroom setting and just kind of hope that it works out, or hope that the novelty of it will try to fix any problems or try to add any solutions to what you are doing in the class. It's not going to replace good teaching and best practices in there. So I usually start with this first. Next, I go a little bit about the tool itself. If you're at this point, you're probably already kind of familiar with that, so I won't go too in depth in that. I will talk a little bit about the why of this tool, like why would you want to use this tool in here? Why would you want to use some add-ons in here? And I addressed this with ISTE standards. I didn't do that last time, so I'm going to do it this time. And then I'm going to spend a majority of our time with a showcase for add-ons. I've picked out 5. If I have time, I'd love to go through all of them, and we'll see. And then at the very end, I'm going to share some goodies with you in terms of links, resources, wonderful things that I think would be good for you or your colleagues that might be interested that haven't seen this tech talk. I always love to share resources in there near you. And then I got a link to evaluation, and I'll answer any questions after. I'll stop the recording at the question portions. It's, you know, it varies from group to group. Anyways, let's not waste any time and jump on in. First of all, my objective, very simple. After this training, teachers will be able to integrate Google Slides in their classroom to help students achieve their learning goals. Do not forget. I always try to remind people, you know, whenever you're introducing technology in your classroom, always think about what's the end result, what's the goals, what is this trying to accomplish? Because, you know, you might throw a tool in there and it might be a great tool for you on the get-go, but as you enter and put it in your classroom, you realize you're not getting the things that you want out of that tool. And, you know, sometimes, you know, you got to really evaluate whether or not the time and resources that you're putting in to have that tool in there is really going to be worth it. And learning goals, just always having that in the forefront, no matter what you design there, is going to help you with that. Next, I highly recommend that you adopt a system to help you integrate technology. There's lots of lovely frameworks out here. I usually recommend the SAMR model, but I also have other models that I've added down here. TPAC and the Technology Integration Matrix are absolutely wonderful frameworks that I think is a good way that I mean, if you've never used any of these frameworks before, it's just a good way to make sure that you're utilizing the piece of technology or the tool that you're using to the best of its abilities and trying to get those results and learning goals accomplished there. So for the SAMR model, the idea is that you want to think about your piece of technology tool in terms of its function, and there's these different tiers that you can use to try to determine like how to maximize the effect of whatever that tool is going to be used for. So like, for example, at kind of the lower levels, you can use it as a direct substitute of something you're already using, or you can use it as you're taking advantage of a piece of its function as a direct substitute of something that you're already doing, so slightly higher than that. So like, for example, instead of using a projector, you use Google Slides on here to share information, something simple like that. Then at the lower stages, we have the transformation. This is kind of like ideally where you want you to be at, but you know, if your comfort level for the tool isn't that much high, substitution augmentation is probably where you're going to start. But the modification stage is you design a task completely around that technology, and the redefinition stage would be you're creating a task that wouldn't be possible without the tool in place in there. So that's kind of the transformational level. It's a high impact area for your classroom there. So you can be at, you don't have to just be in one of these tiers. You can be in multiple parts of these tiers and just squeeze that little toothpaste bit at the end, just as much value as you possibly can of the technology on that one. So yeah, if you have any questions, I'd love to talk about any of these with anyone, especially TPAC and Tim. I won't be able to cover that one, but that's just my recommendation for this. Okay, let's focus on the Google Slides here. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging in for that, just to kind of let me lay that foundation and throw in a bit of theory and those frameworks in there. I'm going to talk about Google Slides itself. just to be certain, it's a presentation software that's a part of the Google Workspace. There's lots of bunch of tools that it plays very nicely with in here. If you're already using something like Google Classroom, this is just another one of those tools in the arsenal that I think you should take advantage of. You probably already know, but you can collaborate on your slides. You can easily share products. You can add in media. It's a very versatile presentation style tool that not only I think is good for you, but I think it's also, if you flip it and put it in the students' hands, it can be a very powerful tool in terms of student-centered learning here. That the fact that you can work on the same slides, it's so strong that you can do that in real time. And of course, you can access it through slides.google.com. Now, before I jump into the add-ons themselves, I just do want to point out that this tool just kind of lends very naturally to a couple of VST standards in there. So if you ever need some kind of a rationalization on how you're using a piece of technology in the Google Slides in your classroom, I've highlighted 3 standards I think fits pretty well in here. We got the knowledge constructor. Oops, no, I don't want to move that. Which, you're compiling information in a meaningful way and trying to make connection between a bunch of different ideas here. So it's good for that. We got the communication tool, of course, since it's a presentation. You have the advantage of combining visuals and communicate complex ideas through this. And of course, global collaborator, just in case I didn't mention before, but I know I have. I think if you put this in the tool of these students, you put this in the hands of the students here, you give them an opportunity to work with other students and iron out those ideas and try to pull through the best product they can possibly give. And I think some of these add-ons that I have on here kind of reinforce these different standards that I've pointed out here. So please keep these in mind as I go over these add-ons right here. Whoop. Okay, so I've picked out 5: Pear Deck, Hypatia, Poletti, Geogebra, and Unsplash. You may have heard of some of these. Awesome. In fact, if you have heard of some add-ons that you swear by, that's not on this list, give us a shout out. Shoot us an email through techteam@opsrc.net. We would love to hear about it, and maybe we'll be able to feature it somewhere. So there's that. Pear Deck is a little more involved than the rest. These are just kind of like single function uni-taskers here that are quite useful. Pear Deck is a little involved, so I'm going to start with that first. The basic idea behind Pear Deck is that you take slides that already exist and insert formative assessments in there. So when students are viewing your slides, there will be moments where they'll be able to interact with your slides in there. It's very wonderful that you can do that. So to build that, I'm actually going to use a copy of my old slides from the last Tech Talk I did for Google Slides. And so let's say, for example, I want students to interact and answer questions and do things with these slides as I present them. So I'm going to go up to add-ons. I'm going to go over to Pear Deck, and I'm going to click Open Pear Deck add-on. That's usually how you start an add-on. You will get a little, chances are you'll either get a pop-up or a slide-out menu. The slide-out menu is kind of more common there. And I can look on the right and I can start interacting with the Pear Deck. So something to keep in mind is that you do have to log in using like a Google or Microsoft account on here. And also, I didn't even ask for it. It upgraded my account to premium. Don't freak out. It doesn't ask for any payment information. You can pay for an upgraded account, or you can just keep the free one, and that's totally fine. You get the core functions of Pear Deck even without paying for anything. So don't freak out that it says that there's a trial on here. But so you have 2 things that you can do to add functionality into your slides. You have, you can basically take the slides that already exist. Maybe you put your own questions on here and then click where it says ask students a questions. You select one of these types. So something I could do is add in a multiple choice question here. So if I click that, I'll get a little pop-up on here. And I'm inserting choices here. So that means the slide itself has to have the question on there since I'm doing a custom one, which is fine. So the choices may be A, B, C, and D, and I can add another one. And when I click update slides, it will add the functionality there. So it will add this little footer down over here and let you know there's something interactive here. So that's one way you could go about it. The way that I would recommend that you go about it, that's probably the easiest way for especially new time users for Pear Deck, is over here it says template library. This is the thing that I feel like is worth the price of admission for taking a look at Pear Deck, because they have built out all sorts of common things that I feel like teachers would use. Like, for example, if you're starting out a lesson, they got lesson builders over here. So I can click on where it says beginning of a lesson. I'm expecting some kind of bell ringer on here. And I'm going to select this right over here. This looks pretty good, and I can kind of preview these if I'd like, but I can tell right over here that this is a slide where students are expected to answer a question. So if I click on that, it's going to work its little Pear Deck magic on here. It might take a second or two to kind of load some of that stuff in, but then it will spit a slide into here. That this is a template, so you can actually edit this no problem, and it works out quite nicely. So it says, as you come in and get settled, follow these directions, find your seat, take out your device, and answer the question. What was the main takeaway from your homework? And I can even see there's a down over here, just in case I forget what this slide was meant for, they give a little description in the notes in the bottom of my screen here. So students don't see that, you will. So it's real easy. You just find slides that you like, click on it, and it spits out over here. And it's not just limited to text slides. Here is a draggable slide on here. So let me click on that. And yeah, over here. So I can't interact with myself, but when I start the lesson, you'll see how students, excuse me, can drag this around and answer those questions. I can take a look back. Oh, gosh, excuse me. Boy. Okay, I'm going to click on back and show you a little bit more of the options. They got beginning of the lesson, during the lesson, end of the lesson, like reflections, exit tickets. They have all that. They even have learning development on here. You could work on critical thinking slides. You could do social emotional learning. And teachers, just throwing this out to you, especially if you're teaching around this time, which is 2021, and probably in the future too. It's just something to think about. Do not skip the social emotional learning. Regardless how old your students are, they're going to benefit from this. It is a stressful time. I totally get that. And so just having teachers regularly check in and giving students an opportunity to just voice and put into words how they are feeling is so strong, I think. So I'm going to click on that. Let's do an example of it real quick. And yeah, this one right here, the stress test. Because, you know, kids are stressed out. Adults are stressed out. We're all dealing with stress. And we need a way to get it out, even if it's just a visual slider in the day. Just having someone physically check in with themselves is such a good idea. So this is like a 1 to 10 little slider on that. Okay, I'm going to get off my soapbox. One last thing down here is that they also have slides dedicated to subject areas. So example questions, the littles, the math, the science, the social studies, they got all sorts of goodies in there. So that is what I think is worth perusing through. Okay, I might be going too fast here. I apologize if this one feels fast and manic on this one, but it's all good. I get excited about these add-ons on here. So once I have a couple of slides with things, some interactives on it, what I can do here is go to the top and click Start Lesson, which is what I'm going to do here. In this case, this is giving me an opportunity to choose between student-based activity and instructor-based activity. For free accounts, you only have access to instructor-paced ones, so keep that in mind. You may get to use the student-paced, which is really nice for, like, you know, assigning slides as homework and still have them have some kind of interactivity into it. But instructor-paced means you're going to have to go about it together with your students, which is fine. Let me log in. Because of the fact that you could do it in the classroom perfectly fine. Like if you have like everybody in the classroom has devices they have access to, that's great. But also you could do this over Zoom if you'd like, or Google Meet or whatever that you happen to be using for your students here. So yeah, so there's that. This is launching the presentation. I'm just giving it a moment to, you know, do its thing. Sometimes technology, you got to give it a moment to gather its thoughts. Of course, this would happen during like training. Yeah, whenever you're trying to show people off stuff, it's just like, oh, let's go on a coffee break here. All right, let me see if reloading it will do it. I know I'm getting impatient here. All right, cool stuff. So whenever you join into a Pear Deck session, the very first thing it's going to show you is, hey, this is how you can get your students in here. They go to joinpd.com, which if anybody's here, you're very welcome to join me on here. They go there, they enter in this lovely little code, which you can display on a screen, or you could read it out. Looks great. And then they will join the session. Additionally, you can give your students a link, which I think is really great. If you're already using like Google Classroom in there, you could just spit out that link and then they can join you inside of there. Additionally, one other thing that you can do is click on Open Teacher Dashboard. Now, the kind of expectation here, since this is teacher-led, is the fact that it's going to be projected on a screen. That means if you share results, which I'll show you how to do in a minute, everyone will see those results. If you want to keep it on the private, you can like load this up on your phone or a tablet or a separate computer or window and click an Open Teacher Dashboard. That way that they will have access to the presentation there. And it even gives a little tooltip on there. So keep that in mind. If you do want to look at individual results here, you can do it through the teacher mode, which I'll have access to a bit. Okay, how am I doing at that? Okay, 12 minutes, that's fine. Great, so real quick, just overview of the Pear Deck, very simple. You can still move through this like it is a, it's a slides, so it has that functionality in there. If you get to a place where you have something to interact with on the student screen, oh yeah, this is asking me how I'm feeling today, awesome. They don't really have control on this one, so they're basically following you. But on the student screen, when it's something to interact with pops up, on the right-hand side, they have a little space that they can interact with. On the teacher's end, I'm going to show you on the teacher view over here, you can see over here who responded when they log in and what they say on here. And you can even leave bits of feedback, which is really kind of nice. But yeah, so really good stuff that you can do on that. Additionally, on the bottom right-hand corner, if you have something that you want to share everybody's responses, you can click Show Responses, and it gives a little list of that, which is pretty great if you want to have something to talk about, discussion. We also have lock screens, which is a useful function if you want everybody to work on something, but then you want everybody to stop working on it so they focus on you. So that's what's good on lock screen. Something that I wish they would have created a separate button for, but if you click and hold the button for lock screens, you can also shoot a little timer on there just so everybody will focus back on you. So a really nice little piece of classroom management there. Next is new prompt. If you have a slide that doesn't currently have a slide deck item on it and you want to add something in there, you can click new prompt and it will allow you to shove a Pear Deck slide in there so you can kind of build on the fly there. Very useful. And then finally, if you click end, it will end the session. In fact, it will save the answers as well, or you could share it out on Classroom. So really useful stuff to allow students the opportunity to look back on what they had answered. One last thing, I know I spent a majority of my time on the Pear Deck, but I will talk about the other add-ons. I think we have enough time here. Top right-hand corner, if I click on the Pear Deck menu where you see the little hamburger 3 horizontal line symbol, if you click on that, one thing to keep in mind is by default, this will require students to log in with their Gmail accounts. That way you can attach a name to an answer. If you don't want that and you just want them to work anonymously, that's fine. If you click this option, it will turn that off. So keep that in mind while you're working on here. All right, thank you, Pear Deck. You've been wonderful. All right, I got 9 minutes. Awesome. Let's talk about some of the other add-ons that I have on here. Next of which, and I'll just kind of go in line in the order of this, so sorry if I don't go in the same order as my slides on here, is Geogebra. I have a warm, fuzzy soft spot for math tools because it's hard to find good ones, but Geogebra has done a fantastic job improving the functionality of their graphing calculators. So I can go over here, I can click on Open Calculator, and something that I can do with this, and this is so powerful, is I can give students an accurate graph here that I don't have to build myself. I just have to go over here to the function calculator. So I can do something like, I don't know, sine function. Oh, okay, here we go. Sine function, and do a little sine wave. Maybe this lesson is comparing sine waves to cosine waves to kind of show like how similar the shapes off, but how they're off by just a little bit here. And then once I have the graph ripped and ready, I just go up here and click insert image, and it will take a screenshot of that and spit it out on the page that I'm currently working with. I said, take a snapshot and spit it out on the page that we're working. All right, for the recording, sorry, we had a little bit of technical difficulty on the back end. We fixed it, I think. We'll see, fingers crossed. But yeah, here's this lovely graph, sine, cosine waves, very beautiful. You can treat it like it is an image. You can even save these too if you want to use them in other places as well. I think it's just be able to go to get some inputs and spit out some outputs here. And you have lots of little lovely functions on here. GeoGebra has been around for forever, so they have had plenty of time to really improve the process on here. You can even do crazy things like get tables of values. So check it out. Check out GeoGebra Graphing Calculator. If you're a math teacher, you will fall in love. Additionally, on top of that, sorry, got to do a little bit more for the math peeps out here. We got Hypatia Create. There's lots of little tools that does a very similar thing to this. So you don't have to use Hypatia in this case, but this is just one of the ones that I picked out. The idea is that if you need a very specific math equation, you can have it typed out on here and it will once again spit out an image on here. So I'm going to say, yes, great, awesome, thank you, Hypatia. So you can get really in depth with this. I'm just going to put something really simple in here, and it makes it look like the functions that you might want to put in here. The thing that I like about this is at the top, you have a lovely little toolbar that you can get all sorts of lovely functions. So you got the trig operators, we got binary relations, we've got operations, Greek symbols, arrows, all the sorts of things that you would probably use to build your lovely little equations in there. And so and you can see integrals. So this is basically good for anything, you know, K through 12 that you would want to use, and probably a little bit of some of the upper stuff as well. So keep that in mind. And once you have it ready, you just click insert and it'll shoot it out as an image. So sorry if the time is going to be a little weird on this one, but it's codified. You know, you got to adapt and adjust. Absolutely. What other add-ons I got here? Okay, I got Poletti on here, which I think is great for the visual aspect of your Google Slides, because, you know, the look and feel of your slides will affect how people respond to it. And so, I mean, I'm usually pretty Spartan when it comes to how I decorate my slides. You know, I try to make sure all the fonts and text and all the little image and stuff, all of that stuff makes sense. But sometimes I do forget to, you know, spice it up from time to time. So if you're like me and you could use a little bit of help with the color design on here, they have 200 lovely little templates. You just find a color palette that you enjoy. Then you can click this little wand symbol and either apply it to the slide there just to see how that works out, or apply it to every slide. Oops, probably shouldn't have done that, but that's fine. Okay, I can control and do it. That's cool too. Yeah, look through those palettes. It's very easy tool to use on there just to kind of spice things up a bit. So that's Poletti. Next, we have Unsplash Images on here. Yeah, which I'm going to click insert and unsplash photo. The reason why I like this tool, it's a way to basically get high quality images that are copyright free, is the fact that whenever you're building out a presentation, your visuals matter for sure. So sometimes it's hard to find images on here that are high quality, that are good enough to not bring down the overall value quality of your PowerPoint slide or whatever slide that you're working with on here. So it's real easy. You just go through here, you type in whatever that you want to search for, you click on the image that you like, and then it will spit it out over here on this end. Woo! Okay, it is high quality, so you may have to adjust the size a smidge, but it will be quite useful for you, I think, as a tool, and all of it is just right here and there. Okay, so I've given you a little sampler platter of goodies that you can enjoy on here for Google Slides. I recommend you go through the store. The add-ons, you just click on add-ons and click get add-ons and just kind of peruse yourself through and try to see if you can try a couple on there, or reach out to your IT administration as well to try to get yourself some help. Let's wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen. The last couple of my slides are dedicated to resources. I call them goodies on here. I have a list of other goodies that you can enjoy from different places. And I also have some lovely templates and resource guides on here that are built out by some people that have dedicated their time to that. So yeah, good stuff in there. I recommend that either you check it out or you share it with a colleague that might enjoy it. Next, I have goodies dedicated to technology integration. I only talked about SAMR model, but I think the other ones are worth taking a look at. So I put TPAC and TIM resources on there. Get a look, find one that you like, and see if you can just squeeze a little bit more value out of your technology that you put in your classroom. Finally, big, huge thank you, especially for this particular one. It was a little crazy, a little high energy, but it's totally fine. Sometimes it just works out. It shakes out to be that. And I'm sure teachers can appreciate the adapting, adjusting that I had to do for this one. So huge thank you for your patience. One thing that I would like you to take a moment to do is my evaluation. This means a lot to me when people do these, because that way I can try to make my Tech Talks better. So I have the address here, which I'll copy paste and read out since it's case sensitive. So lowercase t period ly / lowercase g g z as in zebra uppercase k. And it's a very short evaluation. It's like a one pager, just a couple of clicks and you'll be done. I promise it won't take too much of your time. On my end, I've been Kashawn Hopkins. We've also been joined here with Kurt Bernhardt, and together we make the technology team at OPSRC.net. That is our email on there. I just got to write it out in my brain. But if you want to reach out to us, you can. I do have a link to the slides, but I also have a link to opsrc.net/techtalks. That way you can get access to all of the tech talks that we've done before, and this one that you're watching right now, just in case you want to, spread the word and get it out there. So with that, I'll be done for now. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining, and I'll see you next time, hopefully. Oh, yeah, let's take questions.